as you said, I'm Eric Doppelrud, and I'm the chair of the board of the Faith Alliance for Climate Solutions, an interfaith, nonpartisan organization with participation from members of more than 70 congregations in Northern Virginia. We are united by the feeling and by the belief that climate change is the urgent moral challenge of our time, and that we are called by our many faiths to be stewards of creation, stewards of the earth, and that it is our responsibility, as the Boy Scouts would say, to leave your campsite better for your having been there. Not only is this important for the faith communities, it's important for Fairfax County. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has recently said that we have about 12 years to really turn this around. Clearly, we cannot rely on the federal government to do the turning. But even had we a different administration, this is not something that only national governments can address. It's something that we must work on in our counties, in our state, in our congregations, and in our personal lives. So an important part of what we are going to be doing today is to hear from some of the leading elected officials here in Fairfax County who are addressing the issues of climate change and energy, and even more than, and also several individuals who are leading organizations, community-based organizations, to address aspects of climate change. But probably the most important thing is participatory, which is we will be doing breakout groups in the latter part of this session, where we're going to get together and figure out how we can form more active advocacy organizations here at a local level to address this important issue. There really can, with this issue, there can be no bystanders, and we must be acting now. Now, I'm going to be introducing and holding fairly close to a tight schedule because the people who are speaking are on tight schedules themselves, and we're really grateful that they have come. I would like to first start off by introducing Supervisor Dan Storck, who represents the Mount Vernon District in the Board of Supervisors. Dan has a long career as a public servant, having represented this district on the school board for 12 years, knows the area extensively, and has really become and is a leading environmentalist and an environmental voice on the board. Dan.
Thank you, Eric. I deeply appreciate the environment. It came early for me. My family was very involved with camping and hiking and backpacking. A Boy Scout, we blazed trails. I love backpacking in general. I've backpacked most of the national parks and out in the wilderness areas, which I particularly love, especially after we have a tough school board meeting when I was on the school board, or we have a tough group of community people. You get out of here and you go out there for a week or two, and somehow you can put it all in perspective. And I think that's, to be honest, I think that's why we're all here, is we recognize those roots for all of us run very, very deep. And if they're not, we're frankly, in my mind, missing on the greatest part of creation. And so those have always been passions for mine. In college, I was head of my environmental club, and we tried to do a recyclable campaign in Ohio, which never got quite where we wanted to be. Now, Michigan got it done, but we couldn't quite do that. And for those of you who know about the Ohio-Michigan disagreements, it was always particularly tough. And I grew up in Columbus, Ohio, which is, as you might know, the home of Ohio State. And so it was particularly tough for a Buckeye to have Michigan beat us in something. So, but this is obviously far more than a contest, even though I think we can use that process to harness some of the energy. I mean, as Eric pointed out, we have. If we had any doubt about the series, if we had any doubt about the concern of and what's happening with our environment, the recent reports that have come out in the last couple of months have further focused all of our attention. And frankly, further focused, I think, and I do believe the board's attention on addressing these. And I want to particularly thank, and I want to ask my colleague, Jeff McKay, to stand up, and I want to recognize Jeff and ours work together on a lot of issues, including environmental. Jeff and I have a number of issues along Richmond Highway that we've been very involved with environmental concerns. Obviously, Huntley Meadows is a key part of Lee District, but also a key part of our community. And then the shoreline, whether it's Hunting Creek or it's the two rivers and all the many creeks in our area are clearly parts and passions of both of ours. And again, I appreciate Jeff's partnership and work on environmental issues. And he and I are working together on many things I'll be talking about today as well. So I'm looking forward to bringing forward some of these items at the board meeting in about 10 days. And I've been reaching out to my colleagues, and Jeff has been very receptive, and some of my others, to try to make sure we bring along and create some new pathways for the county, more pathways on what we can and should be doing. The county has had a large number of programs that it's introduced in the past and things that it's committed to. And I think those have been admirable and valuable, whether it's talking about cool counties or even our more recent energy strategy that we finished. But as those of you know, I voted against that energy strategy because I did not think it was proportional to the risk and the challenges that we face. And that really is what I want to emphasize today, and that's really what I want to, hopefully my colleagues will be joining me more broadly in addressing or understanding that we have to increase our commitment and increase our resources that we're devoting to climate change and to the huge impact it's going to have. In Mount Vernon District, all you have to do is literally walk out the door of almost any place, or for me to walk or run or bike down to the rivers that we have, and you see what's going to happen with those shorelines. You know what's going to happen. And my colleague and we call ourselves Team Mount Vernon. My colleague, Karen Corbett-Sanders, is going to speak with you in just a minute. We'll be able to personally attest to those impacts because she's lived those in her specific community, New Alexandria. So we get it. We totally get it. And that's part of the passion. That's part of the real life that we have to face. So what are we going to do about it? Okay? What's county going to do differently? Well, I'd say first and foremost, we have to have more actionable items. We have to have stuff that's more concrete. We have to have things that are more accountable. I'm a business guy, for those of you who don't know that. And to me, accountability, identifying a goal, but if you don't identify then the method and the person responsible for achieving that goal, it's just a goal. Or maybe it's just a dream. And we know those don't necessarily happen unless you match those and bring those two together. So I've identified some things, and again, Jeff and I have talked about some of them, and we're clearly going to be working through the rest of these over the next week and 10 days. But we have a national reputation. Fairfax County has a national reputation, but it's not in land use. It's not in environmental issues. It's in kind of quality of life, the management of the county, et cetera. We have to make ourselves become the national reputation for climate change support initiatives. I look around our neighborhood, I mean the broad neighborhood, you look at Montgomery County, you look at Arlington, you look at DC, they are all leaders in this area, and we know and we believe that Fairfax County can do the same. We sure have the resources, we sure have the businesses, we sure have the collective skill set to do that. And that's really what this is about, is driving and increasing that commitment and frankly, increasing the deliverables, which the outcomes are what ultimately matter for all of us. Investing in green energy, building better building practices, electric vehicles, those are all not only good things to do, but good business things to do. It's also getting wonderful returns on investment. If I'm a business guy and I take $1 and I can put it into something and I can get $3, $4, $5, $10 back on that, that's a no-brainer. And the county can do the same. We have similar opportunities for that. So I'm going to just kind of identify the list of things that I'm working with my colleagues are, and I think you'll see most, if not all of these, and maybe a few more things 10 days from now when the board meets and I present these things, hopefully with many of my colleagues' support. We'll start with, in my mind, the basic place to start, which is I support the local advocacy group initiatives. What is that? Fairfax to Zero campaign. Fossil-free resolution for Fairfax County. Thank you. Yeah. Support for a national carbon fee and a dividend program, the two that are connected together. I support that. I can't speak for the board, but I clearly support those things. I'm going to be working for those things. The 12-point energy and climate action plan for Fairfax. I think that also has a huge number of elements and items that we should be able to integrate and include with what we're doing. In addition to that, the county needs to say, we need to bring together what we've done on a lot of issues, and very, very successfully on a lot of issues. We need to bring back our task force on energy issues and make it a multi-dimensional task force. We bring folks together, business, industry, community, and drive these changes forward. I'm convinced that that's an essential part of what we have to be able to do. We cannot do this alone. Yes, we have some leaders out there, not Fairfax yet, but I'm confident we'll get there. We have some leaders out there we can look at. You know, they have active websites. We have a passive website. We have websites that you can do this or that, but they have active websites. Here's what you should do. Here's what you can do. Here's incentives. Here's some things we can do and you can do to support this and help make that better. The Tree Commission. I saw Kathy Ledeck, my tree appointee back there. Looking for Kathy. Thank you very much for your service. And anybody who knows Kathy knows how deeply committed she is to the environment. Getting the Tree Commission involved and helping to increase the number of trees that are planted and providing and having tools for enabling people to do that. Department of Planning and Zoning. We have a huge opportunity in our building requirements and what we expect new builders to do as well as what we can expect when people are rebuilding places. We have communities where they're doing tear downs or communities where they're actually revitalizing or rehabilitating structures. We can do more things to improve that, the energy conservation. My chief communications director, Kama Spear right here. Kama has a zero energy house, and she built that with her husband a decade ago. 2 days. Okay. She's doing her job well. I think the investment opportunities in particular are what we've not leveraged well in Fairfax County. The money is out there, the return is out there, the need is out there, and frankly, our planet is calling for it. In my mind, it's Earth First Fairfax, right? We better have Earth First Fairfax. If we don't do Earth First Fairfax here, there's not going to be as much Earth, and there's definitely going to be a more dangerous planet that we're all going to be inhabiting, and that we have to make a difference with that. So we have the tools. We sure have the brain power. We've got the business, and we have the environmental folks. We've got community that is deeply knowledgeable, highly educated, highly motivated to bring these things together. When I was on the school board, we did some pieces of this that I'm deeply proud of. The energy savings and programs that we did, and I know Karen can talk some more about that, but we have a community of the boards in this area, the Park Authority, the school board, and all of us. I think we just need to harness those resources. We just need to bring that energy together, and we need to drive that forward because this is Fairfax, and we should want to be leading the country about addressing climate change. And I'm confident with the board's support, we can make that happen. So thank you all very much for giving the opportunity to do this. And I'm excited about what we're doing.